This episode of Bouts Talking Bouts just coming off a great Impact Wrestling show over at Don Kolov Arena. I'm joined by Jimmy Jacobs. How's it going there, man?
It's going great. Bouts on Bouts?
Bouts Talking Bouts. My last name's Bowker.
Bouk talks bouts.
Yes.
Like a bout, like a match. All right.
Cover a lot of like MMA and boxing, but also I'm a big pro wrestling fan. That kind of got me into everything early on. But it seems like with this facility, there's the melding of those disciplines, like some mixed martial arts and some pro wrestling and stuff like that. Do you think there needs to be a little bit of that crossover, like some shooter-esque kind of experience nowadays, or...
Need? Need's a strong word, my friend. What is really needed in life? It's like you don't need any. You need to eat.
I guess does it lend itself well to the modern style, I suppose?
It can, right? Like it just depends. Like there's a lot of different tools to create emotional connection with people, right? Or to tell a story. To tell a story and then create emotional connection with people by telling a story. So if it is a tool that can be used successfully to do that, yes, people have done that, right? So yes, is it necessary? Absolutely not.
Yeah, for sure. I get what you're saying on that end. But what were your thoughts on the overall reception of the audience and everything to the shows that were going on tonight?
Yeah, man, there's a great audience here in Mississauga. This building, the Don Kolov Arena, is super cool. They got a bunch of stuff here, and it's packed and tight. Kind of reminds you of like the old studio wrestling, and so it's got a nice atmosphere. These fans are great. Yeah, it was awesome.
And for people who are unfamiliar with your present role in Impact Wrestling, can you describe sort of the like day-to-day aspects, like what you do on show days, certain things like that?
Oh, well, I'm a writer and producer here. They started having me do like backstage interviews too. Whatever, man. So the matches, the stories, the promos that you see, have my fingerprints on them. We go, hey, what should we do here? Oh, okay, let's do this. How about it's more like this? And let's, you craft a TV show with professional wrestling elements to it, right?
Is it as creatively fulfilling as like the in-ring stuff, or do you compartmentalize them as separately creatively fulfilling endeavors and you don't really compare them so much?
Wrestling, while I wrestled for a lot of years and still continue to wrestle, it was never my thing. Like the creativity with the physicality wasn't what I excelled at. The creativity behind the scenes and with the talking with the characters, that was sort of more my what I excelled at. Now I get to do that. I get to, do what I'm good at.
I thought you were a good in-ring worker. I remember seeing you at the Oshawa shows at the GCW, like the Legion Hall and stuff like that. I thought they were fun.
Yeah, thank you. I was good. Good, but man, the guys nowadays, they're awesome. I mean, there's a really, really amazing talent now. So it's like, yeah, I'm good at that. Fine, good. But then writing a wrestling TV show, yeah, I'm better at that. Producing a TV show, backstage, doing the promos, helping the guys out with that, better at that, So that's really where my talent specifically lies. I'm, I'll say in the ring, yeah, good enough, fine, some good stuff throughout my career. But as far as what I do now, there's very few people on the planet that do it as well as I do. How about that? Yeah. And that's just sort of, I think, matter of factly,
Up until this juncture, is there anything you have your fingerprints on that you're particularly proud of, like a storyline or a moment, like a pop elicited from the crowd from something you did, anything of that nature?
I mean, at Impact, oh man, just, my fingerprints are all over the show, so it's really hard to say, oh, this specifically this specifically this, because I mean, I go into a room with Tommy Dreamer and Don Callis and Scott D'Amore, and we bang these things out and have done that, before, Sanjay Dutt and Abyss, we all did it. So I mean, my fingerprints are all over the whole thing. It's hard to say like, oh, this was mine, and the Undead Realm. How about that? The Undead Realm. That was my idea from conception to execution. That was my idea. And some people hated it, some people loved it. I enjoyed doing it.
And it's a cool time to be a wrestling fan just because there seems to be so much crossover nowadays. Do you have like a similar sentiment from your perspective being directly involved in it, just crossing over with like promotions like House of Hardcore and working with some different indie feds and things of that nature?
I mean, yeah, the independent wrestling right now is at an all-time high. And so, there's a lot of different companies that work together. Impact Wrestling, we get to work with a lot of independent companies, and, and it just benefits everybody, at this point.
Yeah, and I think Impact's been doing some pretty distinct sort of stuff too. Like there's that intergender wrestling, which does happen on an indie level, but not so much on like that regular broadcast TV sort of thing. And the way the crowd responded to Tessa Blanchard, I think, is indicative of the fact that there is intrigue surrounding that, and people want to see stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. You see it on the independent level, but you don't see it in WWE really. They're starting to dip a toe in it, but I don't think they will ever go fully into it. Ring of Honor's not going to do it. AAW's not going to do it, and we have the opportunity to do it. And not only do we have the opportunity to do it, but we have the woman to do it with. I don't think you can just do it, haphazardly with anybody. Tessa Blanchard is, maybe the best female performer in the United States today. There's a couple. Hey, Becky Lynch, great. Charlotte, great. Asuka, great. There are some great ones. Tessa's as good as any of them, if not better. So we have the woman to do it with, and the crowds are reacting accordingly.
Yeah, I actually came to the tapings with my girlfriend, who normally isn't like a wrestling fan so much, but she saw Tessa Blanchard came out. She got really fired up and just genuinely excited and invested in the progression of the match. So I think it's doing its job.
Yeah, I hope so. I mean, that's we had Tessa and Sammy main event this last pay-per-view, and I think that's the first time you had an intergender main event of a pay-per-view. Certainly at Impact Wrestling, probably. Yeah, probably the United States. So, I mean, yeah, we're doing it, and she's doing it. And, when we signed her on a year ago, it's like, oh, yeah, she's got something. She's it. And what a get for us. I mean, that was really something I was excited about when we got it. And I was like, oh, man, everybody's missing the boat, and she's doing great.
No, I agree with that sentiment. I don't want to take up the rest of your night and everything. You probably want to go off and all that. But anything you want to add as a parting thought as we're wrapping up here there, man?
Add as a parting thought. You have a podcast. I mean, everybody's got a podcast these days. But it's called Jimmy Jacobs Doesn't Know. If you like wrestling, well, don't listen to the podcast because it's about life. Because, wrestling's fun. Wrestling is enjoyable. Dude, I love wrestling so much in so many different ways. But really what I want to talk about is, like, life. Like, what's going on here? Like, we're standing, underneath the sky on this blue marble. It's, like, just hurtling through space. Like, what is happening? What's going on? We have hands and fingers and faces and mouths because we can say things, and noses we can smell things, because because the universe for some reason has it has odors to it. Like, why? What is happening? I'm so curious about the existential element of this, and so I talk to people about, hey, life, what's going on here, and how do we do it? How are we supposed to live? So
no, that sounds great. I'll definitely have to download a few episodes of that. But again, I appreciate the time, man, and you enjoy the rest of your night.
Cool, thanks, dude.